You did it! You hung on for dear life past the 32-hour mark. You caught your egg and tossed it back without breaking. You turned your nose up at a new PlayStation, MacBook Pro, and thousands of dollars of other goodies. Where everyone else took the big plunge, sometimes out of exhaustion and other times for a few measly $1,000, you stood tall, or at least hung tall and lasted it out for the big $1 million. What's next? What can you buy? And how much will you actually have left after taxes? First, can we talk about how cool it is that we have YouTubers giving out huge sums of cash directly to fans? Normally, for a shot at the big bucks, you'd have to try your luck at the state lottery with its astronomically bad odds, or wade through piles of paperwork, and then audition in front of a bunch of out-of-touch TV execs just for a shot at a few $1,000s on a lame TV show. YouTubers like MrBeast, though, said, "Screw that," and decided to give back straight to the viewers that launched them to stardom. No reams of paperwork, no boomer TV executives deciding if you fit the right demographic. Instead, just come hang out, literally, and get a shot at $1 million. And you did it, you won, you're a millionaire. But now that you are, what is actually going to happen next in your life? Well, the obvious answer is that you can do anything you want. You can even host a YouTube challenge of your own and fling eggs at people trying to hold on for dear life over a freezing pool. You could adopt one shelter pet and give it $1 million lifestyle, or 1 million shelter pets and give them each $1 lifestyle. Winning that million is going to be a huge rush and probably make you feel like you can do anything you want. Wrong. The world is terrible, full of horrible people, and most dreams wither and die on the vine, and you should accept that. Maybe we're being a little harsh, but you really should give yourself a solid reality check, and if you can't, allow us. But first things first, treat yourself. Seriously, you earned it. You beat out everyone else in a series of insane challenges, and you deserve something nice. Just, don't go overboard with it. Get yourself a new laptop, a new car, maybe take a vacation with your friends and family. Just be prudent with your spending and don't go over the top. A brand new Ferrari might seem nice, and maybe people will think you have a personality if they see you driving it, but Ferraris come with Ferrari costs, and maintaining a luxury supercar is not cheap. Between insurance and maintenance, you could be looking at tens of thousands of dollars just to have a brand new 2018 Ferrari 488 sit in your driveway looking pretty, and that's after the roughly $250,000 you spent on buying it. Or maybe you're not a car person but more into fashion and jewelry. That's another surefire way to blow through your winnings in no time. You can blow an entire million all at once on a diamond-encrusted Hublot watch, while a used Rolex can be had for less than $10,000. As many lottery winners who didn't take this advice have found, maintaining a lifestyle they bought into with their winnings is an extremely expensive affair. Remember, this money is a one-time cash out. You didn't suddenly move up in life and yearly earning potential. Your winnings are just a temporary financial windfall. Most lottery winners forget this and immediately start acting as if they earned $1 million a year in their normal job and will continue to do so forever. A good financial advisor would point you at smart investments you can make so that your money continues to work for you. Let's say you invested $500,000 into a mixed portfolio of stocks and other assets that yielded a very conservative 5% a year return. You'd end up with $25,000 a year for nothing. That's more than a minimum wage job. You might be happy to quit and just live off the interest forever and ever. And if you don't spend that whole amount in a year, even better, invest it back into your fund and increase the amount that you make next year. There's a lot of financial advisors, though, who are just as likely to offer this risk-averse advice as they are to encourage you to invest in your cousin's topless drive-thru video game burger joint where you get a free video game with every burger. We really can't stress enough just how important you research who handles your money. But how much do you actually have available to spend on your modest used sports car and quit your job forever wealth fund? Before you can start planning anything, you'll have to reevaluate your budget, because you can bet that the government is going to come knocking and ask for their cut. Taxes suck, but having roads, fire departments, clean drinking water, and a military to protect you definitely doesn't, and you're going to have to pay in. Unfortunately, your mega win is going to count as taxable income and shoot you straight up to the top of the tax brackets, where in the US you could be facing a rate as high as 37%. Don't despair right away though, because tax rates are progressive in most countries, just as they are here in the US. That means you won't be taxed at a flat 37%, but rather only the income you make that exceeds the lower tax brackets will receive that tax rate. For example, if the tax rate on $1 million is 50%, but the tax rate on everything else is 25%, then the first million you make is taxed at 25%, and it's only the $1 million and first dollar that's taxed at 50%. Earning more money and going into a higher tax bracket will never lead to a higher tax on what you were earning below. So hopefully now we can finally be done with the insane idea that you shouldn't accept a raise because it'll put you into a higher tax bracket and somehow make you earn less overall. Now, navigating the federal tax code is very tricky business, so we recommend you hire a damn good accountant and tax specialist. No matter how much your brother-in-law brags about knowing how to get one over on the IRS, there's no replacement for professional help. So you're the winner of MrBeast's $1 Million Hang In There challenge. How much are you actually taking home? First, you'll have to worry about federal income tax and then state income tax if any applies. Federal income taxes are set nationwide, though state income taxes vary on a state-by-state basis. This might feel like double taxation, and it sort of is, which is why some states don't do it at all. Other states, however, need to offset other civic expenses and thus enforce an income tax of their own, though none of them do it at the level that the federal government does. If you live in Alaska, Florida, Nevada, South Dakota, Texas, Washington, or Wyoming, then congratulations because you have no state income tax at all in those states. That might sound great, except you should consider additional taxes that might be offsetting the lack of an income tax in those states, such as property taxes and sales taxes. However, for the sake of this $1 million grand prize, it might be worth the move, except unfortunately the income tax rate is derived from the state that the game show or competition you took part in is based in. States such as Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Utah have a flat tax rate for income, which means that everyone pays the same amount of tax. It doesn't matter if you make $1 or $100 billion. Your tax rate in these states remains the same. There's a special caveat for Tennessee and New Hampshire, as they only tax income that comes from dividends and interests on investment. Of these states, the lowest income tax rate is Tennessee at 2%, and the highest is North Carolina at 5.25%. The rest of the country uses a progressive tax rate, which is meant to be less of a burden on lower income households. Alabama taxes income at a rate between 2% and 5% of total income, and let's say you won $1 million there, how much in state taxes would you have to pay out? Well, we'll try to give you a rough estimate. Like we said before, taxes are complicated, so consider these ballpark figures. If you're filing as an individual and not a married couple, your first $500 would be taxed at 2%. So already out of your million, you're paying $10. Now you have $999,500 of taxable income left and would pay 4% tax on the money you earn up to $3,000. That would add up to $120 in taxes. Not so bad so far. Now you have $996,500 left of taxable income, and you would pay 5% tax on the rest of your income over $3,000. That would total $49,825. Ouch. That's quite a big tax hit. And when you add it all together, you'll be paying $49,955 in state income taxes if you won your $1 million in Alabama. That would leave you with $950,045 in winnings, which is not bad at all. How does a progressive tax rate compare to a flat tax rate though? Well, let's imagine that you won your million in Illinois, which has a flat tax rate of 4.95%. In that state, you would end up paying $49,500 in taxes, or about $400 less than in Alabama. Which is better for you, a flat tax rate or a progressive tax rate depends on the actual tax rate and the number of brackets a progressive tax rate may have. Then, of course, there's the numerous deductions and tax exemptions that you can file, which will reduce the amount of taxable income you have to file. See, we told you this was complicated stuff. But don't forget about the federal government, because it's going to take its share of income tax as well. For your cool $1 million, you're looking at roughly $327,637 in federal income taxes. So you very well could end up paying out as much as 40% of your $1 million in taxes. You know how country songs love to say that freedom ain't free? Well, in this case, freedom is costing you almost $400,000. So your $1 million is more like $600,000 after the government is done with you, which is still quite a lot. Smart lottery winners can see the cash they won as an opportunity, no matter how much it is, and you should too. Treat yourself to a few nice things, but keep it modest. Instead of a fancy sports car, maybe buy a nice $40,000 sedan that's gonna last. Use the rest of your money in ways that's going to help you turn your one-time financial windfall into a true $1 million lifestyle. That means you're going to have to avoid splurging now so you can be rolling in the dough later. Remember, your lifestyle hasn't changed, and that money will run out much faster than you might expect. Better then to set a small lump aside to help you improve your life and invest the rest, earning an annual return on that investment every single year, rather than buy yourself a stupid sports car today that you can't afford to fix the first time it breaks down. Over the long run, you'll be in a far stronger financial position, and if you let your investment grow by adding to it, your annual payouts will only get bigger and bigger. No matter how you look at it, what state you win it in, and how you plan to spend it, winning $1 million is truly life-changing, and we can hardly believe MrBeast is giving that much away to his fans. We can't congratulate the winner of this challenge enough, even though we are a little jealous we didn't get to compete, since this writer has excellent grip strength and definitely could have held on longer than anyone else. Oh well, maybe there will be an Infographics show $1 million challenge one day, and we can show the world how our hours and hours and hours of typing have given us the strongest fingers in the world. And until then, we'll just keep dreaming about the ways we'd spend our $1 million prize. What would you do with your $1 million? Would you just blow it all right away? Tell us in the comments. Now go check out why winning the lottery is the worst thing that can happen to you. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.